Welcome, everybody. It is another Friday, March 29th. So happy you can join us here in the Florida EMS webinar. We have now over 155 presentations that have been done, all thanks to the start of this, which was Dr. Pepe's idea back in the COVID days. And we continue to do this to bring the best and the brightest people in EMS to the forefront. And this is a special presentation today because um, for those of you who don't know about Hatzalah, they've been in many communities around the country. And then in 2021, the state of Florida really passed a law to allow them to function like other EMS services. And I will tell you from a personal perspective, I was at a party at a hotel about a month or two ago, and one of the family members um, basically had a syncopal event. And who showed up first was Hatzalah, and they did everything, right? Started an IV, they had the 12 lead on. When the local EMS came, they basically looked and said, everything has been done. And it was such an eye-opening experience for me to see what had happened. And it was a privilege that we were able to have them so close, and they got there literally within minutes. And so today we have on the call Andre Roitman, who's the executive director of Hatzalah South Florida, and Chief Jeff Levy, who is the EMS director of Hatzalah South Florida. And I asked him to come and give a presentation explaining how Hatzalah has evolved over the years, and hopefully open up for a nice Q&A at the end. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and take it away.
Thank you, Doc. It's great to have Josh in here. If I say something wrong, Josh, feel free to pop up and correct me, please. First of all, Dr. Ntavi, I appreciate so much everything you do to our community, and it's really humbling to be able to be part of this presentation today. Even more looking around the names that some of them will recognize in this forum. It's really humbling to be here today, and I appreciate Dr. Ntevi for giving us the platform, the opportunity to present and introduce a little bit more and clarify the concept of what Hatzalah stands for, where we come from, and what we're looking forward to be. I'll give a little bit of a background about Hatzalah. Um, Chief Levy is also the deputy chief for Lauderhill Fire. He's our EMS director, and he'll be going a little bit more into details on the practicalities of how we function and so forth. I just wanted to give a quick overview on what is Hatzalah, why we exist, where we come from, um, and hopefully when we finish this presentation, have a much more clear understanding what Hatzalah is all about and what we're trying to accomplish here. Hatzalah, the name Hatzalah, which sometimes I get confused by Hezbollah, which is not the same at all. Hezbollah is a terrorist group. Hatzalah, we try not to be terrorists. Hatzalah means rescue, is a Hebrew word for rescue. So that's basically what it is. Hatzalah is a Jewish Orthodox volunteer organization. We're guided by the principles of the Jewish faith. Every Hatzalah, it's a requirement to have a rabbinical board. So we follow the halacha, which is the Jewish principles and guidance in regards to the laws that we have to follow. And I can get into a little bit more details, but Hatzalah started over 50 years ago in New York. Basically, a member of the community was frustrated with a friend of his that collapsed, and nobody knew what to do. Everybody looking at the member on the floor, and nobody had a clue what to do. He got very frustrated. He basically got himself medically trained as a first responder. He got himself an oxygen tube, oxygen tank, and he used to go around everybody that was having some difficulty breathing, somebody having some issues. They're basically he was just running around with an oxygen tank and trying to help the people in his community. Over 50 years later, that evolved into an important EMS agency. Hatzalah today is one of the largest volunteer EMS agencies in the world. Hatzalah exists in New York, but exists also in Chicago, in Los Angeles, in Baltimore, in Florida. And if you go beyond the United States, exists also in Australia, of course, in Israel, they're very, very strong. In Europe, in many different countries. In Latin America, is basically in almost all Latin America countries, in Brazil, in Argentina, in Panama, in Mexico, in Venezuela. So everywhere that we have a organized Jewish community, Hatzalah has become part and center of that community. And the idea is that when you have somebody, a family member that is a doctor, the first person you're going to call when you're not feeling well is that uncle that's a doctor. Hatzalah basically is because we are from the community, we live in the community, we work in the community, and we go to the same synagogues as the people. So it's like a family, another family member that has some level of medical training. So the idea of Hatzalah is if every person is trained in CPR, it just increases the possibility, the potential for saving a life. If you go a step further and everybody's training as an EMT, it's even better. If you could train everybody to be a paramedic, it would be amazing. So we do everything we can to maximize the potential of the community to be able to help each other. So the idea of Hatzalah is basically to service the community from within the community. Although we are a Orthodox Jewish organization, by no means we ask our dispatchers, we'll never ask what is the religion of the ethnicity of the person that is calling. We service the entire community. Anyone that will call within the region where we have volunteers, we will respond. And that's the essence of Hatzalah. We will function based on our volunteers. So the community go to become EMTs, paramedics, they become volunteers, and now we have a program going. Hatzalah is fully funded by the local community. We're a 501c3, we're a charitable organization, and Hatzalah is fully funded by the community. So the community needs to understand and believe in the values of Hatzalah in order for Hatzalah to exist in the first place. So basically, in summary, Hatzalah is an EMS agency. We're all from the community. The response time becomes significant lower than normal EMS just because if you can have in the community neighbors there are EMTs, the response time is going to be quicker because they are within the community. Imagine like a Uber of the EMS world. That's in a synopsis what Hatzalah stands for. In regards to the technicalities of how we function and how we organize today, I'll let Chief Levy continue. I'll just tell you, we started Hatzalah in South Florida in 2010 with 15 people that became certified CPR. Then they became certified EMTs. Hatzalah has evolved from that, from a first responders group to become a EMS transport agency with over almost 250 members and 14 ambulances, 17 fly cars, 3 motorcycles, and we're here today with an important mission, which is to be part of the EMS world, join forces with the local EMS and fire departments and the police departments. And for us, when Chief Levy was willing to volunteer into the organization, it was the right message, the right approach we're looking for to help integration of Hatzalah with the local EMS world. And Chief Levy has been an amazing advocate for Hatzalah in the EMS world, has helped us communicate and bring communication forth to a whole new level. I was so appreciative for his work in Hatzalah. And he's got today a strong knowledge of Hatzalah and EMS, and he's been able to combine them and bring the best of the both worlds to the table. So with that, I'll let the chief take over.
Oh, shucks. Thanks, Andre. That was so nice. So, yes, I appreciate this. Good morning, everybody. Just a little background on myself. Like Andre said, I wear two hats. I'm the deputy fire chief for the Lauderhill Fire Department by day, and by night and weekends, I'm the volunteer EMS director for Hatzalah, South Florida. I am humbled to be a part of this amazing organization. So, back in 2021, when the House bill was signed, Andre and the others from the executive board of Hatzalah asked me to, um, provide some insight as to how they were going to be functioning up in Broward County. Like Andre said, Broward County, Hatzalah has been functioning in Dade County since 2010. It was a first response agency, no transports up until 2021 when the House bill was signed by the governor. So I asked Andre and the executive board to give me the opportunity to help bridge the gap coming into Broward County and expanding up into Broward County with ambulance ALS and BLS transports. It originally started with BLS transport and then evolved into ALS transport in Broward County. Made the introduction to the Broward Fire Chiefs. I felt it was very important because we as firefighters are creatures of habit and don't like change. So I felt it was very important that we take the opportunity to make the introductions, do multiple presentations, and meet with the Healthcare Coalition, the Fire Chiefs Association, the Police Chiefs Association, and the various fire departments where Hatzalah is functioning in Broward County. So that being said, we made that jump into me and the executive board made that jump into making these introductions. I was not a part of Hatzalah at the time. And probably about 18 months ago or so, Andre and the board finally said to me, enough is enough. We want you to take on a different role here. It's volunteer. It's not going to take up much of your time. Yeah, it's volunteer. It takes up a lot of my time, but I love it anyways. My wife tells me I'm crazy, but my problem is I can't say no, as many of you on this call know that. So Andre already went over the mission for Hatzalah. We are an ALS organization that stretches from Miami Beach all the way up to Boca Raton currently. During certain times of the year, we function in Orlando for the, as I call it, the mass migration of Orthodox Jews into the Orlando area for certain types of Jewish holidays throughout the year. The most recent one coming up is Passover, right, Andre? Just making sure. When we start functioning in Orlando, we've met with the Orange County Fire Department, the Osceola County Fire Department, currently trying to reach out to the Polk County Fire Department. So if anyone's got a contact for Polk County, please send it my way so I can reach out to them. Just to let them know that we'll be in the area. We will not be responding with ambulances in the Central Florida area. Like Andre said, it's members of the Hatzalah community that come down from various parts of the country that are dual certified. Not they're NREMTs, but they're dual certified from the state that they reside in to also the state of Florida. So they will be functioning as ALS and BLS first responders in those specific areas. They will not be responding code 3 in those areas. They'll be responding within the neighborhoods that they reside in. So we do have a medical director. Dr. Yoram Goodfriend is our medical director. Dr. Goodfriend is a ER physician out of Jackson Healthcare System. And he also has some associate medical directors that assist him in the system as well. Let's see if I can control this PowerPoint here. Here we go. So like I said, all of our paramedics and EMTs are state certified and nationally, well, they were originally nationally certified and they're all state certified, state of Florida, certified EMTs and paramedics. The licensure is the same. The certification is the same certifications that our fire rescue personnel go through. We are covered under the state of Florida. We are licensed with the Department of Health in the state of Florida. We are inspected by the Department of Health in the state of Florida. And all that jazz. All of our personnel are required to go through Continuing education training. We do have weekly CME trainings within the respective neighborhoods. We also have a weekly call review where all the members can attend and get CMEs. And then also, just like most agencies, we have an online learning management system as well. All of our members are required to go through EVOC as required by the state of Florida as well. One of the unique things of Hatzalah compared to a fire rescue agency is that Hatzalah will only respond to the communities, like Andre said, are current Orthodox community related areas. So for instance, you will never see a responder from Hatzalah responding from South Beach to Hollywood licensed sirens. That's not how it works. It's basically closest unit response within the system. So, some of our areas are, in Broward County, you won't see responders coming from Dade County up into Broward County, but what you will see is they do routinely, obviously, traverse the Tri-County area in their personal vehicles. So when Hatzalah receives a call, we have a dispatch center that is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. As most of you know, that in the Jewish religion, certain times of the week, the Sabbath, Jewish sensitivities and cultural does not allow for use of electronic devices, driving and whatnot. Because, like Andre said, we fall in the rabbinical laws. And as a Hatzalah responder, Hatzalah means rescue. Those Hatzalah responders are still able to drive their personal vehicles to emergencies on the Sabbath. They are allowed to carry radios on the Sabbath. They are allowed to have their cell phones on the Sabbath for the purpose, excuse me, for the purpose of emergency use. So I'll use an example. A few years back when we had a potential hurricane coming, a hurricane warning was announced in Dade County to where they had to do evacuation of the barrier islands, or hurricane watch, whatever would it be. It happened to be on a Friday night where most Jews are in synagogue and unable to have access to any electronic news information. So, imagine having 230 plus volunteers across the Tri-County area that can get the message to the rabbis about, certain types of natural disasters, man-made disasters, or any types of emergencies. That's what Hatzalah brings to the table as well. So back to how we respond. We'll get dispatched to a call. If we provide services in that area, the Hatzalah responders will be dispatched in that area. We have an average of 2 to 3 minute response time into that area. The way Hatzalah responds is we will dispatch responders directly to the scene in their personal vehicles. They are allowed by state statute to have red and white lights and sirens in their vehicles and respond code 3 to calls in their personal vehicles. So we will dispatch EMTs and paramedics directly to the scene. In addition, if we have an ambulance in that area, because we don't have ambulances in all of our neighborhoods yet, but if we have an ambulance in that area, we're going to dispatch additional responders to go get the ambulance and respond to the scene. The ambulance is usually on scene within 5 to 10 minutes, but the initial responders are on scene within 2 to 3 minutes, beginning patient care. So if we don't have an ambulance in that area, Hatzalah will still dispatch the call to our responders, and then we'll also reach out to the local PSAP to where we're residing. For example, Coral Springs Parkland area. We do have responders in the Parkland area, but we don't have ambulance transport in the Parkland area. So they will dispatch responders into the Parkland area. We will dispatch responders into the Parkland area. And we also contact the Coral Springs Parkland PSAP to have a rescue respond if the need arises on certain types of calls. Oh, see if I can scroll my screen here. Our vehicles are unique. They are not able to be misrepresented for something else. Our vehicles are lime green, not to be confused with the MDFR lime green. It's a different lime green. We don't want to be confused with that, but it's they're lime green and blue. They are not, mistaken for any other vehicles. They do have Hebrew writing on them. They do have full, again, state of Florida requirements for licensure. We do have the ambulances, as you can see in the top screen. We do have SUVs, and we do have scooters, motorcycles that can respond into the densely populated areas of certain crowded downtown areas. The uniqueness about Hatzalah, not just for areas where we respond to, but I want everyone to understand this, that Hatzalah provides a resource to the community. So if your community does not have responders from Hatzalah responding, but you do run into a unique cultural sensitivity of an elderly person, Holocaust survivors, immigrants, language barriers, issue on Shabbat, people coming in from out of town, you can still call upon Hatzalah to assist with, and I'll give you an example. Back before Hatzalah existed in Lauderhill, this was many, many years ago when I was on the road as a paramedic, we had a elderly female that was walking to synagogue on a Friday night, trip and fall. We got called. She was injured, but she adamantly refused to go to the hospital by ambulance on Friday night. She would not go to the hospital. She wanted to sign a refusal. She was able to sign a refusal, but we did not feel comfortable with letting her walk back to her home. Hatzalah did not exist in Lauderhill at the time. So what we did is we wheeled her 2 blocks down the side of the street on our stretcher back to her house. But to my point is that Hatzalah can help bridge that gap of the cultural sensitivities. If you have somebody that is the Orthodox religion and adamantly refuses to go to the hospital, but you know they need to go to the hospital, feel free to call our hotline and we will have somebody respond to assist in bridging that gap. Now, Hatzalah does, respond at the request of, we have been called to the local hospitals for, again, Orthodox family members that one of their loved ones has passed away and they were having a difficult time manipulating that situation from the hospital side. We've been reached out to by the hospital. The ER has contacted us and we've responded members to the hospital to help bridge that gap and help calm the family and help bring the cultural aspect into the hospital to assist with navigating that sensitive time of a family member passing away. Let's see here. All of our members, when they respond, there's 2 forms of ID. Every member here has this ID on their person. It shows their first name, last name, their EMT or paramedic licensure number. It shows their level of certification, whether it's an EMT or a paramedic. But also on the back of it, there's a QR code similar to this that anybody can scan if there's any concern of authenticity of this member being a responder. They can scan it. The QR code will bring up all of their active certified information, and it will show if they're an active or not active member with Hatzalah. In addition, these 2 stickers are on the personal vehicles of Hatzalah members. If you see a Hatzalah member responding code 3, or you see a vehicle responding code 3 in the South Florida area with red and white lights, they are probably a Hatzalah responder. And to confirm that is on the front and rear of the vehicles, we'll have these 2 placards, one on the front windshield and one on the back windshield or the back side of the car, which will have these, again, have QR codes on there. They are renewed every year. And again, by scanning the QR code, it will confirm by anybody that's got a concern whether this is legitimately a Hatzalah responder or not. Like Andre said, we have multiple ambulances in multiple areas throughout the county, or the Tri-County area. You can see here, and I'll read them out because it's small, but we have Surfside, Bal Harbor area, North Miami Beach, Aventura, Boca Raton, Hollywood, North Miami Beach, Aventura, Miami Beach, and that's where we primarily have our ambulances right now. We have more ambulances than we do have communities. We have multiple ambulances in some of the communities because of the call volume in those areas. We do, again, provide ALS and BLS transport in those areas and work alongside the fire rescue entities in those areas. We have been working with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue, as Andre expressed, since 2010. Since the House bill was signed and we've provided transport, we work closely with Miami-Dade Fire Rescue in the Aventura, North Miami Beach area and the Surfside areas. We also work with Miami Beach Fire Rescue, Hollywood Fire Rescue, BSO Fire Rescue in the Hallandale area. This has to be updated because we do have an ambulance in Hallandale now. But we also have ambulances in Hallandale and work alongside BSO Fire Rescue in those areas. these are the neighborhoods at the bottom. These are the neighborhoods we have services in: Miami Beach, North Miami Beach, Surfside, Bay Harbor Islands, Bal Harbor, Sunny Isles, Aventura, Highland Lakes, Hallandale Beach, Hollywood, Lauderhill, Deerfield Beach, Boca Raton. Parkland is coming on board as a full-fledged neighborhood soon. And then at certain times of the year, should be the Central Florida division of Hatzalah. We respond to all types of calls for service. When Andre told you that back 50 years ago, Hatzalah started up in New York, a lot of our residents down in the South Florida area have migrated from New York or the northeastern part of the United States, where all they know is Hatzalah. They were brought up, and all they knew was Hatzalah. Their families called Hatzalah instead of calling 911. Again, it goes back to this right here, where, excuse me, the cultural sensitivities, and a lot of it is due to the Holocaust survivors. As you can understand, back from the Holocaust, a lot of people that had family members or were directly affected by the Holocaust don't like uniforms. Hatzalah members don't respond in uniforms, we respond in plain clothes. We do have polo shirts, obviously. We have jackets. We have all the swag that our members want, but we're not truly uniform members responding to a call. We're people in t-shirts and polo shirts responding to our neighbors. So when people move down from certain parts of the country, or they are on vacation for certain time in certain times of the country, all they know is Hatzalah. They might call their local Hatzalah number because it's ingrained in them, and they call their local Hatzalah from New York. And all the Hatzalah dispatch centers have each other's numbers and know where we provide services. So the Hatzalah in Brooklyn can transfer the call to Hatzalah South Florida and vice versa. And that's how it works.
I think it's just to add, Chief, to what you mentioned, every responder, when they respond in a private vehicle, they have the full equipment equivalent to their licensure.
Right.
So EMTs, they have all the equipment that EMTs can carry, and paramedics, each paramedic carries their own life pack, which makes a very expensive operation for us. But every paramedic has their own life pack in their vehicle, so they're not dependent on the ambulance in order to start treating patients. So just a side point. Maybe I don't know if you have time for Q&A. I know that
I have two. Let me finish up with two more things, Doc, if I can, and then we'll go from there, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the Broward County area and the Dade County area, real quick, Hatzalah has been recognized as EMS responders in those areas. One of the biggest things is Broward County 911 system is a public safety radio system, and it's Broward County does not allow anyone onto their public safety radio system unless they're law enforcement or fire rescue in Broward County. To show how Hatzalah has been recognized into the South Florida system, Broward County has now allowed Hatzalah onto the public safety radio system for use of the hospital direct communication channels. Instead of having to utilize the UHF channels, the state required UHF channels, we now have access to all of the Broward hospitals in Broward County and all of the Broward County fire rescue tactical channels, because Hatzalah is part of the mass casualty incident response plan in Broward County. Hatzalah is invited to all MCI drills in Broward County, most recently the airport drill last year and the seaport drill that last year as well, to work alongside fire rescue entities to train on the MCI process. Now that Broward County has authorized us access to the system in the hospital direct channels, Dade County has also authorizing us to have the hospital direct channels in Dade County. And then shortly thereafter, we'll be working with Palm Beach County, our partners, to do the same thing. So, I just wanted to kind of show that, one other thing is Lauderhill has been allowing Hatzalah members from across South Florida. We're the only entity right now to allow Hatzalah members to ride alongside us, to gain the experience, learn who they're responding side by side with, and bridge that gap, like I said at the beginning, of firefighters, fire rescue personnel being creatures of habit, and we don't like change. Hatzalah is not here to take anyone's jobs. Hatzalah is strictly here to help respond to their emergencies within our communities, and we've responded last year to over 6,000 calls for service from Palm Beach all the way down to Miami Beach. And I'll stop it there and see if we have any questions.
Wow. Wonderful presentation, Chief and Andre. And I must say that like any idea, like any good idea, it evolves over time. And to see what you guys have done from the Miami-Dade days and now into what's happening with the law being passed and how you blended so nicely into the community is really a model for the rest of the country. So congratulations. I'm so glad, Chief, that you're officially part of the team. And I selfishly wish that Hatzalah comes into our neighborhoods. I'm in Davie, by the way. Let's open it up for Q&A. It's the bottom of the hour, so we're gonna have to jump over to Dr. Pepe's webinar. But I would love to hear from. Let's see, is Josh still on the line?
Josh?
I think Josh may.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Because no, Josh, and Josh, if you could also discuss, because I know that you've also done some incredible work that with even flying around the world and picking up people with Hatzalah. So if you can come and sprinkle a little bit of that in, and also just thanks, like Chief said, for you joining today.
Yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure. I appreciate it. I'm generally on the Eagles, but don't get onto the Seagulls. So Hatzalah, as Andre and the Chief mentioned, is really an international organization made up of several chapters. One of those chapters is an airborne chapter. And so Hatzalah Air does emergency medical transport, flight medicine all around the world. There are multiple planes. Some are based in the Northeast, some are based in the South, but they can traverse the country and traverse the world. We've taken many patients in and out of Latin America to South Florida, actually, many. A lot from South Florida to and from the New York area from a general populist perspective. And then, as you can imagine, we've done many trips to and from Israel, between Europe and Israel and the United States and Israel. And they're staffed both by flight paramedics, by flight physicians, and a full complement, depending on the call, respiratory therapist sometimes, and a lot of it is done through the spoke and hub philosophy that Hatzalah has. So a lot of the local chapters will do the ground transport to the airfields, and then we'll take the patient over via air to the next location, which will be picked up by the local chapter there and taken to wherever the patient's destination was. So it's just another added service that is provided through the Hatzalah network of chapters.
Amazing, and the reason I wanted you to highlight that because that actually just happened, where Hatzalah South Florida waited for the plane to come in from New York. They rendezvoused there, and they went to pick up somebody in the Bahamas. I mean, just the amount of logistics and what happened there was just mind blowing to me to see how the local community interacts with the national community of Hatzalah. So it's incredible stuff. So anybody else have a comment or a question? Other folks who may be involved who wanted to make a comment, feel free to do so. All right, we have a lot of great people on this call today. So, and I'm sure that there are people on this call who are wondering, hey, how do we get Hatzalah in my community if there is a Jewish community there? Can you just really quickly describe that aspect of it before we go? Either Andre, Jeff, or Josh, either one.
Andre,
on mute. There you go.
Doc, I'm sorry. I missed your last comments.
If there's a community out there who does have a big Jewish population who doesn't have Hatzalah yet, how do they link in? How do you adopt a new community?
So usually the process is that the community will go to a local rabbi. The local rabbi would then communicate with the Hatzalah leadership, and we will provide them everything they need from the infrastructure, communications, supplies. We did that. As you mentioned, we were just Miami-Dade. We grew into Broward, Hollywood. The community came to us, request Hatzalah there. We worked with all the rabbis around. We provided without any cost for the community all the supplies, technology. We brought an antenna there to put our radios. The same thing happened in Lauderhill. The same thing happened in Deerfield Beach, in Boca Raton. So as the community grow and they want to have Hatzalah locally, they communicate with the local rabbis. We work with them. We provide all the infrastructure they need. But the most important valuable asset is local volunteers. Everything else is sort of easy, so to say. But the most important part and the most difficult part is to have a team of EMTs and paramedics willing to volunteer 24/7. You know, we don't take for granted we have 250 volunteers. It's not an easy task to bring a volunteer, to train, to make sure that they upkeep with their trainings and everything, all that it takes. It's not easy for a guy that is working on I'm a banker. We have builders, we have developers. Like we do our lives and we stop our life in order to go to the call. It's not so easy to get volunteers in those areas. But once we have a team of volunteers, that's the heart and essence of the community to be able to so we can develop the Hatzalah there.
Right. This is a true community effort. Amazing job. You guys have really done a fantastic job. Andre, Chief Levy, Josh, thank you guys for joining us today. There are people asking me for the slides. You okay if I forward the slides to others? Okay, great.
100%.
And we'll put this up on YouTube. And thanks, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. And let's get over to Paul Pepe's webinar. So link in the chat there to Dr. Pepe's webinar. I can put it in there again. Who guys want to pop over? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It was amazing.
Thank you, Doc. Appreciate it. Thank you all.
Keep up the great work. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.